The feeling I had when I had this spontaneous awakening when I was 12, just sitting on a hill, was I had no idea what had happened or why. And for years, it felt that it was just spontaneous. It just, just happened. And I have seen that with other people. And I have myself had experiences since where there was nothing about what was happening at the time which seemed to make it. It was just like the bubble burst. But my sense now when I look back at what happened to me when I was very young was that what I'd done was I was so conscious of how mysterious life is. I still had that innocence of childhood where I could see that the adult world was tied up with a story which they were mistaking for reality. And not only a story, but generally quite a banal story about what life is. So because the story that the adults were telling was so banal, because it was just about survival, really, or it's survival in society, getting a job, buying a house, all these things, which matter, but compared to the enormity of being alive in the universe, are dwarfed. So I could see this story, this banality, and thought, well, that can't be it, can it? That can't explain my existence. What's the purpose? And so I think diving into that mystery, I've now understood, is the easiest and most accessible doorway into an altered state of consciousness. Because you step out of your ideas. Ironically, the place to the gnosis, to the knowing, is not knowing. And that I could see that I didn't know anything. And with that innocence, didn't expect to, I think catapulted me through this door of... There's a Christian text, The Cloud of Unknowing, old text, which does this. Lao Tzu, mystery is the gateway in the Tao Te Ching. And now I can see, oh yeah, that's what I did. Through this profound, I don't know, but I'm here, this whole other world of oneness and love opened up for me for a short while. And I was, right. And then all my questions, which had propelled me through, were not answered, but resolved. The experience was so much like coming home, such a relief, that there was a sense in which, those questions have gone. And instead there's this knowing of something which I can never say. All I knew was something profound was happening, surely. And I can remember feeling that if there was a question this big, there should be an answer this big. And yet no one was addressing it. Now, I went to school like everybody else, no one mentioned it. It was like, what's going on? You switch on the TV, no one mentioned it. I listened to the adults' conversation, no one mentioned it. It's like, well, hang on, we're alive, no one's got a clue what it is. Why is no one talking about this? And I still get that today. It astonishes me that we live in this kind of strange denial that no one mentions this huge question. No one mentions the fact that nobody, the world leaders, the great this, the people who are running the banks, nobody knows what life is. And yet everyone's going about their business as if they do. I think you can get to the deep awake state through anything. I myself have found that music, there's a huge route to it. Art, dancing, but thinking also. Thinking has the ability to, to a large extent, what you experience is how you're thinking, because it governs what you see. That wonderful experience of insight comes when you take a new thought to look through. You look at the same moment through a different lens, and more is revealed. And the job of philosophy, well, Plotinus, the Neoplatonist philosopher a long, long time ago, said the job of philosophy was to take you to the vision. And that's the ancient tradition. I studied modern philosophy, and I'm not really a modern philosopher. I'm much more a philosopher in the ancient tradition of a lover. Philo means lover. A lover of Sophia, a lover of wisdom, a lover of the goddess, actually, that's what it means. and the goddess Sophia. So that tradition is not just about the mind. It is about the mind, but not just about the mind. It's about how thinking in certain ways can actually change your state of consciousness and take you to a different place. And thoughts can do that. More and more with my work, when I'm doing these mystery experience retreats, where I take people on what is really an initiation, to try and give people a direct experience of the deep awake, and to feel the big love that comes with that. And you can't miss it then. You know, when you feel it, when you know it, it reaches right down into your body, you know. And I use what I call logos, which is philosophy, you know, ideas, to clarify things. But the real center is what I call eros, which is, you know, love. It's direct experience, that you can do things, simple things, like the way you look, the way you listen, the way you touch, the way you are, where you put your attention. And then it's that opens up that. So I feel it's both. Anything can do it. I mean, I have a friend in Dallas who finds, you know, that she's into bondage, because this opens her up to a whole new experience. Now, you know, I throw that in because normally spirituality is like, you know, so, but actually anything can reveal to you your deeper self, because your deeper self is always there. There isn't a spiritual way, there isn't, you know, you can be walking in, it can be anything which does it for you, because the key thing is what happens to your attention. When your attention shifts away from just what you're conscious of, and you suddenly find yourself conscious that you are conscious, there you are, and that opens up. One of the things which I find is that if I say being conscious, witnessing, it can sound very dry. It can sound like you're kind of up here watching, I'm watching Tim's talking, and, you know, I'm just watching. But it's not like that. Actually, it's more like what happens for me, if I describe it now, is that instead of being very tight into Tim, actually there's a presence which can be identified at one with everything. And so rather than being disconnected, like a little dot watching in some sort of rather cold, abstract way, there's this big spaciousness holding, loving, actually, the moment. And then you're actually at one with the moment. So rather than, you've kind of maybe as a technique separated yourself off, but that's not where you rest. You come back and then, oh, then you're one with the moment. And that lovely experience you have when you do something you love can bring that about for sure. You know, you can do it and be very, very tight, and that's when there's anxiety and you're very, you end up feeling burnt out, actually, eventually by it. But if you come into that big spacious place, there's just this love of the doing, or the being, or both. They're identical. So it's not a disconnected, unattached place, not for me. It's actually the opposite. It's a completely integrated and embracing place. The journey is actually life. It's what's doing it to you. And so whatever's in your life is doing it. It's not some separate thing within life. What philosophy does is enable you to see things you might have missed and to clear away confusions you've got. So in spirituality, say, a lot of what I do now is just setting up a very simple way of seeing how we can be deep awake through my philosophy of lucid living, for instance, which the effect it has for me, and it seems to be the same for other people, is you go, oh right, okay, and it becomes very simple, and then when it's very simple you can see it, and there's not the things which are in the way. There's a lot of ideas around awakening which actually get in the way, and I know that personally because they got in the way for me for years, decades, until I questioned them and just went, well, is that right? And so a lot of the philosophy is about doubt. You know, doubt sets you free. Doubt makes you conscious. When you doubt something, you're conscious of the thought. You can come back to it and accept it, in which case it's your own. But you've actually freed yourself from conditioning, things you've read in books, things you've just taken on unconsciously, as soon as you doubt them. You hold it up, oh, what's that? Is that right? Is that helpful? Is that revealing as much as it could? So a lot of it's just that. And again, in mystery, you bring an idea into the mystery. Here's the great mystery of the moment. We don't really know anything about anything. That's the honest truth. And then we have these ideas, this story. So you just bring it into that mystery, Is it something is that helpful to me? That's what philosophy is doing. And then the direct experience, which is really just the complementary, they go together, they're like that, they're like two sides of a coin, is how you then look at the moment. Am I looking at the moment and just seeing, like right now, am I looking at this moment and just seeing, oh, you know, I'm having a conversation, I'm talking, you know, I write books, I talk, that's what I do. Or can I see, whoa, hang on a second, right now there's awareness and there's ideas appearing, that's all very strange, and you know, my head's going, and my jaw is moving and my tongue is moving and my breath is exhaling and the air is moving, and then it's reaching across, and then it's reaching across to you and through the camera to, whoa, people across time and space. You know, that's amazing what's happening there. And then that thought enables me to go, oh yeah, this moment is pretty damn special, actually. And every moment's like that. You can see it in a very narrow way, where you can expand it and go, wow, yeah. Above our head, it goes on forever.
Really good.